There are tasteful films about the struggles of working in theater, Tick, Tick, Boom, Birdman, Bullets Over Broadway, and there are tasteless films about working in theater, and today I'll be talking about one of those. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at Meet the Feebles from 1989. This is Peter Jackson's second feature-length film, made after the cult classic Bad Taste, and before the culter classicer Braindead, aka Dead Alive. And somehow, after making these three gory, trashy, tasteless, gross films, Hollywood gave him $1 billion to make the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and he won all of the Oscars. Truly one of the strangest career paths in film history, but we're not here to talk about Oscar-winning movies. We're here to talk about movies with blood and boobs, and when we're real lucky, bloody boobs. So let's do that again, this time with puppets. Meet the Feebles opens with the Feebles singing Meet the Feebles. How else could it have started? The Feebles are a variety show, kind of like The Muppet Show, and they are rehearsing for a performance which will go on in 12 hours, and are hopeful this performance will be good enough so they will be picked up for a syndicated television program, kind of like The Muppet Show. Since this is a variety show with lots of acts and different characters, this isn't the kind of movie that has a plot that centers around a central main character. This is an ensemble story. So instead of talking about a plot that doesn't really exist, let's meet the Feebles. The closest thing the Feebles have to a star is Heidi the Hippo. Years prior, she was discovered by Bletch. He wanted to get into producing, and he needed talent. She was that talent. They started both a professional and romantic relationship. These days, though, Bletch has lost interest in her romantically and has been cheating on her for some time with a cat. Of course it's a cat. What else would side be? Bletch, in addition to being the producer of Meet the Feebles, also produces fetish porn videos with his henchman Trevor, a rat. Trevor and Bletch also run a drug ring. Busy boy, Bletch. The MC for Meet the Feebles is Harry the Hare. Behind the scenes, he's a womanizer, or bunnyizer, I guess. Anyway, he is coming down with a sickness of some sort, and it might be the big one. This, of course, would be quite the scandal for the Meet the Feebles show. Unfortunately for him and the Feebles, there is a tabloid reporter hanging out backstage, F.W. Fly. The new guy of Meet the Feebles is Robert. He's trying to get to know what's expected of him, and he's trying to express his feelings for another cast member he is in love with, Lucille. The stage manager, Arthur, gives him some good advice in that department. Unfortunately for both Robert and Lucille, porn producer Trevor wants to get her into his movies, and he's willing to drug her to make that happen. After an accidental death, Robert is assigned to the knife thrower Wynyard. Wynyard is a hopeless drug addict desperately trying to escape from his memories of the Vietnam War. In a flashback that will be familiar to people who have seen The Deer Hunter, we learn exactly what kind of things he went through over there. The animal trainer on the show is Sid, and he's got two problems. One, his animals all get killed in a backstage accident. Trevor, of course, was not too bothered by this mishap.
It took me 6 months to train that lot.
Not a bad little meat patty.
His other problem is his ex-girlfriend, a chicken. She tells him that the baby is his, and the courts will decide how much he has to pay in support. He denies that the kid is his, but it's obviously his. And finally, rounding out this ensemble cast, we have the director of Meet the Feebles, Sebastian. He tries to fight against all this chaos and get the show ready. If the acts can't get their acts together, he will be forced to perform his own number. Bletch does not want this song to go on, rightfully thinking that the audience won't respond kindly to a song that extols the virtues of sodomy. Theater people, they sure do like their virtues. So as you can see, this movie is gross and crass and violent, and it absolutely should not be shown to children unless you want to be the coolest babysitter ever. So let's talk some highlights. Well, the movie is really funny. It's crass and tasteless and very far away from what my generation would call PC, but it's still very funny.
Are you all right up there?
I seem to have stuck my head up my rectum.
You mean it's not part of your act? Pity. We could call it Passage to India.
And aside from that crass humor draw, there is a lot of creativity on display here. You can just kind of marvel at the filmmaking. I don't mean it's some great work of genius or anything like that. I just mean that they spent hours making a spider puppet that's only on screen for 3 minutes. That's commitment to movie making, and it's a commitment that I really appreciate. If you were a theater kid, I think you'll appreciate this movie as well. Anyone who's ever been in a play or a show will recognize a lot of what happens backstage. It's all part of the creative process. And a lot of this feels pretty familiar. Oh, and the songs are pretty funny. I think there are funnier musicals out there, like the ones written by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, but the songs here are still pretty great. Especially Sebastian's show-stopping ode to sodomy.
Sodomy, you must think it very odd of me that I enjoy the act of sodomy.
And finally, the finale. I won't spoil it, but I will say that it involves a machine gun and is pretty awesome. But beyond the humor and the songs and all these cool puppets, I don't think the movie is perfect. Like Bletch popping his cookies, this movie has some shortcomings. Well, for years, all I had was this crappy DVD, and it really does look terrible. It's dark and muddy and overall just pretty bad. Thankfully, there is a remaster of this out there, and it looks a lot better. The clips I've been showing are from this remaster. Here's what the film used to look like.
I gotta go on. I gotta go on. My public loves me. I can't disappoint them.
But even with this remaster, the film is still pretty dark. The characters are bright and colorful, and it's really too bad they're in the dark for a lot of the film. This is realistic. I mean, Backstage to the theater is a pretty dark place, but it didn't have to go for realism in this particular case. I mean, The Muppet Show, they have lots of scenes that take place backstage, and it's not dark. But I can't complain too much about this movie. This is a very low-budget indie effort, and it is just busting at the seams with creativity. It's crass and gross and funny, and of course I like it.